Okay, we're going to be talking about vulnerability and its effects and the interrelationship between other factors. There are many things that can happen in a person's life to make them vulnerable. Homelessness can be caused by mental illness and relieving them vulnerable to acquiring these things. When they're homeless, they become susceptible to potentially acquiring infectious diseases. Persons with addictions who don't seek or get help are vulnerable to assaults, poverty, if they're addicted, they're probably doing some high risk behavior in addition to the addiction, and violence that can come if they're living on the streets. People have gone broke and lost everything as their addictions take over, and from that they become homeless. Some of this can have an effect on mental illness. As people have stressful environments at work or so forth, they may take these stresses out on their families, making it a hostile environment for families to come home to. They may become violent and so forth, and making it more beneficial for the families to leave the home that they once lived in. Rural and migrant health, well, they might have these issues, and these are areas away from cities that they don't have access to the same amount of help that you might be able to, that you would have access to in a city. And it makes it difficult for these people to address, if they recognize a problem, to address them, because it's limited, or it becomes taxing for them to commute to locations to do so when they have jobs and responsibilities that are in other parts from cities. And all of these things interrelate and contribute to other forms of vulnerability, causing an overlap. And for this reason, infection from living on the streets, addictions that lead to poverty, and violence if these locations, because the streets are really not the friendliest and safest places, especially depending if everyone's high risk, so they're gonna become aggressive towards one another. Mental illness puts them at vulnerable because maybe they had a very successful life, but they're not as high functioning without intervention. And this is what happens with that.